Hi, this is Erin Harrison coming to you from the Miami Beach Convention Center at our 21st IT Expo. I'm here speaking with 8x8's Huw Rees. Huw, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
So just to get things started here, I understand 8x8 just made a pretty big announcement today, launching an integrated unified communication solution. Tell us about that.
Yes, so what we've done, this is really our first foray into expanding the services above and beyond the hosted PBX services to hosted unified communications services. So we've released a product called Virtual Office Pro, which is a unified communications suite of services delivered on a hosted basis, the same way as we deliver our hosted PBX, and provides a host of new features for the end user. So these features are things like the ability to use a web-based soft phone. So it's a web-based service. So no downloads required in order to be able to use a soft phone. It's a flash soft phone. We also have your contacts database there. So your Microsoft Outlook contacts, your corporate directory, click to dial from those contact lists, and then other features like internet fax, so the ability to send and receive faxes, either the separate DID or using the same DID as you use for your phone, and then some more advanced features like call recording, for example, so you have the ability to record a call and save that and replay it later or send it later. Those types of features that we've introduced in this unified communications suite.
Okay, excellent. It seems you guys have been pretty busy since our LA show in the fall. Tell us about the Virtual Office Mobile VoIP iPhone app.
So in addition to the unified communications that's available on a web browser, we've also introduced an application for the iPhone. It's available in the iPhone App Store, so if you search for 8x8, you'll find that as a downloadable app.
Cool.
It's a mobile app that allows you to integrate your iPhone with your hosted PBX service. So that means, for example, and it works on the Wi-Fi connection. So if you have an available Wi-Fi connection either in your office, at your home, a Starbucks, or any open Wi-Fi connection, you can launch the application. It will use that Wi-Fi connection, and you'll be basically integrated with your PBX, with your virtual PBX. So that means that if somebody calls you, for example, it will call you at your office phone. It will also call you on your iPhone through that Wi-Fi connection, not through the regular cellular network. And you can also make outbound calls, and you can outbound call, for instance, to your corporate employees. So you can dial by extension, for example. You can also do things like transfer, something you can't typically do with an iPhone, for example, or most cellular connections. So you can transfer the call as though you were at your desk phone. You can obviously get your voicemail directly without having to call in, and it's a shorter method for getting your voicemails. And when you make a call, an outbound call, you're using the 8x8 network. Now, that means you're not using your cellular minutes now, so you're using the Wi-Fi network back to the 8x8 network and then making the call outbound from your 8x8 network. That, typically, if you're making, say, international calls, will save you a significant amount of money because, and you make international calls over the cellular network, it's a pretty expensive proposition. When you make international calls using the 8x8 solution, the costs to most destinations are measured in a few cents per minute. So it's a fairly significant cost savings for you as well.
Okay, excellent. There's a couple of trends I want to just touch on briefly with you. The first one being hosted PBX, and that typically being a solution more for SMBs, but now that's emerging as a solution for larger enterprises and breaking into government as well.
Yes.
So what trends are you seeing there?
So this started really last year. In 2009, we started to see this, and we're seeing it accelerating, and we believe it will accelerate further through 2010. what we're seeing is a real uptake now in terms of subscribing to hosted PBX services from larger enterprise customers and the federal government in particular. So we have seen, we have a number of large enterprise customers. There's customers like Adecco, very large staffing company. McKesson, they're a very large medical devices company, and others. And we're starting to see this trend where the enterprise, really the technology that we're deploying and the way that we deploy that technology is now starting to satisfy the CIO type person within a large enterprise by basically being able to prove things like the scalability, proving the availability, that it's reliable, and having methods by which we can deploy quality of service, for example. So with these types of technologies and attributes of the service, these now fit well with the types of questions and, in previous years, objections that CIOs would have had from enterprise customers. And then in addition to the sort of large enterprise, we've also seen a very significant trend in the federal government. There are two major prime contracts that we're involved with. We are partnered with Level 3 Communications, and they are prime on a contract called Networks, which has an X on the end, and another prime contract called WITS 3, which is the Washington Interagency Telecommunications Services contract. And these are contracts that specifically call out the requirements for hosted PBX, or hosted voice over IP services. And we've been actively engaged, and in fact we've done our first couple of deployments on those contracts. And things are going well, and we believe that in 2010 we're going to see a lot more of those types of deployments and larger deployments as well.
Okay, excellent. Good luck with that. And just quickly before we have to wrap up, any trends you're seeing in terms of HD voice?
So yes, I think this is similarly to the enterprise and government breakout in 2010. I think that we're also going to see the breakout of HD voice in the VoIP space. So there's been a few announcements recently. We made our own announcement a few weeks ago where we've deployed our customers with HD voice. We're using the G722 wideband codec. When you make a call, an IP call, IP to IP call, automatically the phones that we supply, the Astra phones we deploy, will use the G722 codec, and it's a very it's a great experience. You have to sort of hear it to believe it, but once you hear it, it's like the person is standing right next to you, or right next to you, regardless of how far away they are. It's very clear. It provides, I think, increased productivity because you're no longer straining to hear what somebody's saying. So we think it's a great technology. We've, as I say, broken it out ourselves, and we've been providing it to our customers. But there are also some other interesting announcements around the world in HD voice. Orange announced that the cellular provider in Europe has announced that they are supporting HD voice, G722, and then there's a number of other providers that also support that. And of course, Polycom, who's been talking about this for many years now, also supports G722. So we're hoping that this is a trend, and we believe it's a trend, and will accelerate in 2010. And it's, from my perspective, it's a real differentiator for our industry as compared to using the public switch telephone network. It's something that the PSTN cannot do, cannot even approach. There's no way that they can do better than the traditional voice codec G711, which provides not very good audio compared to these wideband codecs, which is like listening to your stereo hi-fi in your home. So it's a real differentiator, and I think it's a very good trend for our industry.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Huw, for joining us. This has been 8x8's Huw Rees. I'm Erin Harrison at IT Expo, our 21st IT Expo at the Miami Beach Convention Center.